feel free to voice your opinions, but we want to make sure that you are being respectful for other people.
The point of this, again, is to inform one another about what's going on and make sure that we're sharing our perceptions so that other people who aren't necessarily aware of what it is we think are getting a feel for that.
And I've been meeting with student groups. I think I've met with about maybe 10 groups so far. But the meetings with the deans, it really is to find out, what are you doing? I'm going to start collecting data because I know that there's faculty data. I want to look at statistics to see, in terms of numbers of people that we have. So there's a lot of work that I'm doing in preparation for the work to come. Instead of having a faculty diversity committee, we've broadened the scope to make a council for the entire university. And on the council, we have student representatives, faculty representatives, staff, and alumni. So I have no reservations about saying, it's a full-time commitment as far as I'm concerned, and that's what I'm going to give to it.
I really want this to be pretty informal. So the first question that I had, or point of speaking, is people have approached me and Carlos and said that they don't feel that there is a Latino presence in the diversity, or in this whole movement that's been going on. So we just wanted to open it up and ask, why do you think that is? Why do you think people don't perceive Latinos to be involved in this? Are you personally involved or invested in this movement? Why or why not? Is it a question of midterms or apathy, or do you not agree with the movement at all?
There's a flood of emails from the collective about flyering and doing this and that, which I understand was like, okay, this is like, they just really want students to come out. They really want to make it seem like it's a big deal, which I think for some really worked. But those some are those of us who are already involved, whereas for others, I think it seemed a bit extreme, a bit intimidating. And I was just sort of struck by that. I guess I wanted to bring it to the group, talk about how to find a balance between provoking students without alienating them, thinking that this is something that is unapproachable.
I think like the passivity, the defeatist attitude, that is almost more detrimental to this campaign, because it gets people thinking like, well, whatever, I mean, I know I'm in this position, I'm here for 4 years, like, why don't I just deal with it? And it doesn't matter what you look like. I mean, you might have those feelings, and when the administration doesn't act on stuff like that, then it just gets reinforced, because the administration is also saying, oh, well, you're going to be out of here in 4 years, so we'll just have new students to deal with, and they can just put up with the same thing.
And I've spoken to different people in the Latino community, people involved in Alianza or not, that I have been a bit disappointed by the Latino community's reluctance to at least push back on things that they think have been unreasonable.
I feel like even when you go to events, the Latino community tends to stick together and not interact with other students, and that's really it's really upsetting to see, because it's like you can't. I understand you have to be strong and you stick together and everything, but like you also have to interact with other people and understand that they don't know about us, and that we have to share with them. We also have to reach out as much as they have to reach out to us.
It's a battle that's already lost before they even join it, because they're like, well, as students we only have so much say, but that's not going to do anything.
And so the things that jumped off this past week were not to alienate any other students in any way, but it was a time to move and a time for action, and that's the reasoning behind why we moved the way that we did.
You're feeling cautious about this. If the idea of flyering makes you uncomfortable, if the idea of talking to an administrator and telling them you're upset makes you uncomfortable, think about what you could talk about with your family. Think about when you could say you were upset in your own house. Really question, where's your voice come from, and why are you uncomfortable using it now? Because for me, that has been huge in how I get involved with things.
The administration has a certain amount of power encapsulated by the resources they control and the people that are there and the respect afforded to them by the structures of the society. But there are 8,000 students on this campus. There are thousands of staff on this campus. There are hundreds of faculty on this campus. We have a lot more power than they do. We have a lot more power than they do. And when we really organize ourselves as people and bring that power to bear, there's no way they can not respond to that.
You have to realize that when someone says that you're being aggressive, as if there's an anti-aggressive clause in life, you must realize that they're speaking in relation to something. They're speaking in relation to an unspoken norm about Kellen, that Kellen is supposed to be silent, that you're supposed to be silent, that you're not supposed to speak up.
The masculine quality of, oh, I'm the one that's taken all the initiative, but it's the women that have also been leading and organizing, and why don't we?
The most.
The most. So why aren't we recognizing their efforts as leadership?
Someone did say to me, like, why don't you have more airtime? You've been doing a lot, and like everyone hears that it's just these three, you know, and it's just like that's the agenda that they're setting.
My aim is to flood, you know, the letter section of every media outlet this week with people's voices.
So please just talk about it and just hopefully you'll engage more within the movement as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you.